Welcome back to the channel, boys. Fabloonski's coming at your neck with this thermal blooming titan build. With this build, you're essentially just an orb battery. You're going to be creating so many orbs of power for yourself, for your teammates. They're going to get their supers. They're going to generate more orbs of power, which in turn is going to let you get your super faster. You're going to generate even more orbs than normal because I have crest on. It's just insane. It's a support build, but in a different type of way. So let's go ahead and break it down. So obviously we're on the behemoth class. There's a couple other options, but I figured the behemoth is probably the best. I like it the most. In my opinion, it's a really fun subclass to use in the Titan class. Right now we're just rocking the dust field grenades. We got two aspects, of course, and then we got Whisper of Fissure, so whenever I destroy a frozen target, the burst of that explosion is bigger and does more damage. Whisper of Refraction, so whenever I defeat a slowed or frozen target, I get class ability energy. And then we're using Whisper of Durance. Honestly, the main reason I'm using this is because it's giving me plus 10 strength, but the slows for my abilities last longer. For those abilities that linger, their duration is also increased. It works really nice with the dust field grenades. It actually makes like a pretty good safety area. Any enemies that go in there, they're gonna get slowed and then frozen. So I really like this specific fragment paired with dust field grenades. Now your loadout is pretty flexible, but this is what I recommend, and honestly I thought this was the best loadout for me in this build. I'm rocking a shotgun with Thresh. I got Reconstruction Thresh in his heritage, and then we're also rocking a primary weapon with Thresh. I got this Pulse Rifle Stars and Shadows. I have Firmly Planted Thresh. I would like to have Outlaw Thresh. I think that's a possibility, but this gun has literally so many roles that I'll take whatever role I can get. So we're using a Thresh primary and a Thresh special, and then we're using Lament because you can use this gun anywhere and it's amazing. Besides 10x I think, but honestly this sword is just amazing. So if you're not using it, if you don't have it, you need to get it right now. Go get it. So we're gonna break down the stats. We got 47 mobility, we got 62 resilience. I would have liked for this to be just a little bit higher, but I'll take it. We got 47 recovery, which is not a big deal because we're using crest. Crest gives you your health back whenever you pop your barricade. We got 33 discipline. We got 75 intellect. This is going to allow me to get my super faster. Plus I'm using two weapons with Thresh, so this is going to be much faster than what it's saying. And then we got 104 strength. This is what's going to allow me to take advantage of thermal blooming the most possible way. So let's start with the helmet. We got a minor strength mod. We got sword ammo finder, we got shotgun ammo finder, and then we got radiant light. Casting your super causes nearby allies to become charged with light. This is also playing into that support factor with the orbs. Whenever I pop my super, then my teammates also become charged with light. But the main reason I'm using this is it gives me plus 20 strength. This is allowing me to open up so many more mod slots in my armor because one mod is giving me plus 20 strength. It's ridiculous. On my arms, we got another strength mod, and then we have thermal blooming. Now this is what the build is kind of revolving around. Actually, it's completely revolving around this mod. We got rapidly defeating combatants with solar or stasis melee attacks creates an orb of power for your fire team members. Now if your fire team is using a charge with light build and they have the mod that allows them to become charged with light by picking up orbs of power, well, you're supporting their build just by doing melee attacks and getting melee kills. It is an extremely powerful mod if you want to just give them super energy. I mean, either way they're gonna pick up more orb of power, right? If you see an orb of power on the floor, you're more than likely gonna pick it up. Now if they're rocking any type of mods that allows them to get their melee or grenade back from picking up orbs of power, or if they're running a charge with light build, then they're gonna get charged with light by picking up the orbs of power. It is such a good mod for a support playstyle, but a support in a different way. I really like it. We're also using anti-barrier pulse because I was using this in a nightfall, and you need to take care of them barrier champions. We also got charged up, which will allow me to have one more stack of charged with light. So onto my exotic piece of choice, we're using Crest of Alpha Lupi. Now the exotic perk that comes on it is Survival Well, generates an additional orb of power from supers, and a healing pulse when barricade is activated. Now that healing pulse is really nice. It saves my life so many times because normally you don't really think of barricade as anything. It's just like a wall, and it's pretty good in that aspect. You can block damage and whatever, but given the fact that this allows it to put out a burst of healing, you can save your life, you can save your teammates' life, give them health. It is such a good exotic, and it's honestly slept on. I rarely see anybody using it, but I'm using it because it's going to generate more orbs of power whenever I cast my super and I'm getting kills. So I'm going to generate a ton of orbs of power, which is going to lead to my teammates getting their supers, getting their charge of light builds, and so on. So I really like it for this build. Literally just an orb battery. Now we also got a strength mod as well. Now we got sniper damage resist because snipers are just annoying. We got concussive dampener because this is going to save my life from boss stomps, from the night hive, like the night fire pool or whatever. And then we got supercharged. Now I can have a maximum of 5 stacks that have charged up and I have supercharged. So there we go, 5 stacks of charge with light. On my legs, we got another strength mod. We got a shotgun scavenger and we got a sword scavenger. And then we got taking charge. Become charged with light by picking up an orb of power. I'm going to be generating a ton of orbs of power because I'm using 2 master weapons, Plus, I'm going to be able to generate super energy for my teammates because of all the orbs I'm creating. They're going to use their supers. I'm going to become charged with light that way. So honestly, I love this mod for becoming charged with light. And on my Titan mark, we got a minor resilience mod. And we have double outreach mods. Reduces melee cooldown when using your class ability. So whenever I do pop my barricade, I'm getting a healing burst for me and my teammates. And I'm getting some melee cooldown back, which is amazing because I want to be able to use my charge melee as much as possible. Although that the thermal blooming mod does work on regular melee, you don't have to have a charge melee attack. And then we got Striking Light. While charged with light, defeating combatants with melee damage and sword spawns 1 orb of power for your allies and consumes 1 stack of charged with light. And then I have the secondary perk, gain damage resistance against combatants while sprinting. So I can literally run up, I take less damage, get that melee kill, spawn an orb of power, and it's great. Now I think that this is a little glitchy because sometimes it does stack with thermal blooming. So whenever I get a melee kill, I spawn 2 orbs of power like back to back. And then sometimes it doesn't. I think it might just be a little bugged. I don't know, because it is kind of like the same mod, so maybe the game sometimes can't recognize it. But I have noticed that sometimes it does spawn 2 and sometimes it only spawns 1. But the good thing is that this also works when you're in your super. So if you go into your super with the behemoth, glacial quake, you're running around punching everything. If you have charged with light stacks, you're going to generate even more orbs of power, stacking that with crest of alpha lupi, which is going to generate even more orbs of power, and then thermal blooming, which is going to allow me to get even more orbs of power. You guys can already see I'm going to be like literally pooping out all these orbs of power, and it's great. My teammates are going to get their super back insanely fast. It's going to be awesome. And here's my Titan fashion. I kind of just went with the design of crest of alpha lupi. It's like white and gold and everything. I think I used this fashion before. I don't even know. But if you guys like it, shaders will be in the description below. Now this is probably the funnest support build I've ever made for me, in my opinion, with the way I like to play. It doesn't require me to sacrifice any type of damage using like Lumina or something like that. Although Lumina is great, you're still using your exotic for a hand cannon, and you're not getting to use like an exotic heavy or special or something like that. But this, it just requires you to play just like how you would normally play as a Titan. You're running around punching literally everything, and by doing so, you're going to generate orbs of power for your teammates, which is going to enhance, they get their supers, get their charge of light builds, and then they're going to generate orbs, which is going to enhance your charge of light build, which is going to give them orbs of power back. Plus, you do have some kind of healing with crest of alpha lupi. It's a nice chunk, although it's not as good as something like Lumina with like a well lock or something like that, but still, it's still good enough. Plus, you're also putting up the barricade in front of you, so you're getting health while stopping damage from hitting you entirely. So it is pretty good in that aspect. Now, this build is kind of hard to show off in like a little clip of gameplay because it is the type of build that you notice over time as opposed to something that just happens like immediately. I mean, you can see the orbs of power spawning, but you're not really going to see the full effect of that until like, you're playing throughout the whole strike, you're getting your super off, and you're like, wow, I'm getting to use my well or my Nova Bomb or my Glacial Quake or whatever it is a lot, and that's because I'm generating so many orbs of power. It's kind of like a passive build that happens in the background while you just play normally. The fact that I have 2 thresh weapons allows me to get my super back like really fast. I get to use it a ton. I'm going to spawn more orbs of power. I'm going to have more well locks, be able to have more wells available for me, and it's great. It allows your whole team just to play at a higher level because they're getting their charge of light builds if they have them. They're getting their super backs, which is going to generate orbs of power, which is going to allow you to get your orbs of your charge of light builds, and then you're using a thresh weapons, and you're just gonna have so many abilities, so many supers, so many orbs of power. Your builds are gonna be great with this build. Now, if there was one thing I could have added to this build that I didn't think of until after, is maybe even running like a special ammo finisher or something like that, because you're gonna be generating so much super energy using 2 thresh weapons that sacrificing some super energy to create special ammo is not really that much of a sacrifice because you just can get it back that much quicker with your thresh weapons. So I didn't think about that until afterwards, after I already did my nightfall and recorded everything. But if you want to add in your special ammo finisher, it probably won't help at all. It probably won't hurt at all, I should say. So go ahead and throw that in there. Regardless, if you just use this build as is, you're gonna see the effects. Your teammates are gonna feel the effects, and that's why I like it. It's a support build, but it's not your typical support build. You're supporting a more, I guess, aggressive playstyle. You're gonna get your supers back and whatever it is. So it's not healing directly, but you're allowing your teammates and yourself to play at a higher level and allow your builds to thrive even more. So I like the support aspect in that way. But if you guys like this content, please like, subscribe, and share. It really helps me out a lot. You can also check out my other videos. Links are in the description below. I have a lot of crazy builds, so go ahead and check that out. And you might as well follow my social media. I have a Twitter and an Instagram, both at fat_Bloonskis. But with all that being said, deuces.